majority want papers.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for those who were able to join us in person, and for those of you who are joining us online, welcome. My name is Jen Morgan, and I am the Riot Virginia program lead. Just a quick summary on Riot. We are a nonprofit economic development org that's really focused on creating jobs and businesses in the technology sector broadly. And when I say broadly, we work with businesses in every industry, whether they're mainstream businesses, small businesses, or high-tech companies, whatever the thing is. Technology is all around us and in every business. So we work with a wide variety of businesses. We run an IoT consortium of tech companies, but we also run 3 educational workshops like this one, a foundations program, and a startup accelerator. And I'm happy to tell you more if you have questions, but that's just a little bit about Riot. Like I said, technology is in every business and it's all around us. It's critical for businesses to be able to work with social media, websites, being able to have a customer relation management system, all of those kinds of things. Technology plays a vital role in all of that. So happy to talk more about how you can incorporate technology in your business, but today's topic is customer discovery. So before we begin today, I'd love to go around the room first, and I'm going to start this way and work that way, and then have the folks online, I'll call on you to introduce yourselves. But tell us your name, what you do, or what your business is, or what your business idea is, and then we will get started.
Hi, I'm Liz Barber. I'm the Economic Development Manager here at Stafford County.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Brown. I work with Stafford County Economic Development doing marketing and events, and I own a small marketing agency.
Oh yeah, and I own a small restaurant.
There you go.
My name is David Frazier. I'm in Frazier Wood Ellington, downtown Fredericksburg. We're a locally handcrafted wood store, so we specialize in residential applications like tables, custom islands. And then we network with restaurants making their tables, bars, and commercial outfits.
Hi, David.
Hello.
There's a new wine bar going in Fredericksburg.
There is. I've reached out to them. I'm hoping to reach out to them again. Yeah.
Maybe there's customer discovery here.
Yeah.
Put all of it together. Dale Hendon, Stafford County Economic Development, and I would probably say at this point, serial entrepreneur, so various activities.
My name is John Hatt. I used to own a company, Expert Innovations. I was working on a bunch of inventions. And after 11 years, 12 years, I wanted to get back into starting up a company again.
Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thanks. Hi, I'm Tom Snyder. My entrepreneurial experience was launching Riot. So we're a startup teaching startups, and excited to be here.
Christina.
Can you all hear me? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The
Yes,
audio
we can.
check. Awesome. Good morning. So my name is Christina Hudson. I'm actually owner of Functional Fitness. I am venturing on a franchise opportunity with F45 training. So working on opening up a fitness studio local in the Stafford area there. And I am currently a fitness coach, certified personal trainer.
Awesome.
Good to see you again, Christina.
Yes. Hi.
Absolutely. Thank you as well again for the invite.
I hope you're working out outside right now.
I'm actually at a shift right now. And then, we actually are outside right now. So you may hear birds chirping behind, but I'm glad to be a part of this presentation this morning. So thanks.
Awesome. Welcome. Camila.
Good morning. I'm Camelia Walker. I work at UNC with the Shuford Entrepreneurship Program. So I know Riot through there, but I'm always interested in good ideas on customer discovery. I'm currently launching my own series of development courses. So this is good intel for me as well.
Awesome. Welcome. And Fatima. Please apologies if I say your name wrong.
It's all right. My name is Fatima. Good morning, everyone. This is my first time joining here, so I'm excited to be here and to learn more about what Riot has to offer. So I am a travel agent. I have a certified travel agency, SL Adventures, and I specialize in booking travel, all things travel related all around the world. So yeah,
Awesome. And where are you located?
in North Carolina, in Raleigh.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're
And I
welcome.
failed to mention that Riot, I run our programs across Virginia, but our headquarters is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we do work across the state of North Carolina, but also across the country. So wherever my laptop is, I can be working. Well, welcome to everyone here today. We're going to be discussing customer discovery. Cool, too many clicks. There we go. So first step in establishing your business always is establishing what problem are you trying to solve for someone else. You want someone else to be able to buy your product or service. If you're just solving your problem, that you're your own customer, you have to be solving somebody else's problem for them to be the customer in this scenario. You do that by establishing what your problem fit solution is, AKA that somebody else is having the same problem and therefore wanting to be able to buy your solution, and that it's big enough for you to be profitable. A key way to do this is through customer discovery. So customer discovery defined is the initial and iterative process of understanding customer situations, needs, and pain points. It really helps you uncover who your customers are and whether the problem that you want to solve is appealing to other people. What pain or challenges did they have today? Is there any demand for solving that pain now? And what kinds of ties does that have to your critical business objective, are all key questions to ask when thinking about customer discovery. Why is customer discovery important? Customer discovery takes this process and with your assumed product market fit, it actually figures out if that's real or just your initial hypothesis. Kind of like the old science fair method, figuring out, okay, I have this thought, I have this idea, is it actually viable? And customer discovery is that kind of path through the process. Overall, it can really help you understand your business, your product or service, whatever it is. By talking to your customers, you get a better understanding of what their wants and needs are, which enables you to create a product or service that appeals to other people. You want that so that they purchase your product. It also helps you understand your investment potential. I know I talk to people all the time who are like, hey, I want investors, I want somebody to buy into my company. Well, talking to your customers gives you a better understanding of, what types of people are going to buy into your company. But it also gives you an understanding of the demands of your target market, and you will definitely get asked that question from those folks who wanting to invest in your company. Well, what's the demand? If I put my money into this, what's my return on investment? How many sales are you going to do? That sort of thing.
I have a question here. On the customer discovery side, do you ever see the scenario where the business identifies the wrong customer out of the gate and not necessarily the wrong problem? If that makes sense.
Goes
Yeah, I think so.
a lot.
Yes, I think that a lot of times we go into, our problem solution bit and having conversations with folks with like an end goal in mind. I am a 30-something white female, so every other 30-something white female is going to want to purchase this as well. But that might not actually be the case. It really is looking at, that whole person, that whole persona, and figuring out, okay, at what points am I, taking this process and figuring out who is this person? What's their age? What's their buying power? What do they like? What do they not like? That sort of thing. And then also thinking about asking those open-ended questions when doing customer discovery and talking to folks, not trying to lead them a certain direction, helps figure out that customer profile.
Dale, I can jump in too and say, as an example, we worked with a company called Phase Doc that developed a little kind of plastic workbench tool, or they call it a workbench. It was really a tool to help people do electronics prototyping, to hold all the pieces and parts together while you plug the wires in and connected things, a little bit like a breadboard. And they really thought that they were going to sell this to hobbyists that went to maker fairs and things like that. And they started approaching that industry. And what they ended up finding by talking to more and more people in more and more areas was really the folks that wanted to buy it were teachers that were trying to teach kids electronics and didn't have a good way to organize all the stuff on the desks of the kids and things. And it's a market they never would have thought of if they didn't go out and just talk to a whole wide kind of range of people.
So, overarching goal, create something that people will pay for. If problems are already being solved elsewhere and you want to break into that market, what's your unique value proposition? What's going to make you have people switch from, what's their current solution to solving their problems to something else? I think that the restaurant industry is a great example of this. We all know that there's 1,000 of the same type of restaurants in the same areas. Like you can walk around in this area and toss the rock and hit a Tex-Mex place. But we all have the ones that are our favorites, and we all have the ones that are like good for this and good for that, and they make those restaurants unique in certain ways. It's figuring out, is it an oversaturated market? The one I'm trying to do, why isn't this business here to begin with? If they're in the early unique and the only type of business in that area. Asking those types of questions will help you lead you to your ultimate goal, creating something that people will want and pay for. And that number one validation tool, customer discovery. But how do you actually do this? Step one, identifying who your customers are. And I'm gonna move the people on the screen so everyone can read. Sorry to the folks on the screen, we're gonna drag you away a little bit. There we go. Figuring out who your customers are. What are their demographics? What kind of core values do they have? What are their habits and behaviors? Who are you trying to sell to? Ultimately, determining these things helps you inform that decision as we were discussing a little bit earlier. I think the other things that are also important to figure out here is who is your buyer versus who is your user. We worked with a company that she's in art business. She does art programming for kids, and she wanted to move from being a mobile business to a permanent establishment. And she was thinking about, okay, well, like, how do I create new classes that are fun for the kids in this physical space and all of those kinds of things. And I was chatting with her and I was like, those are all great things to think about, but from a business side, who's paying you? She's like, well, the parents are paying me. I'm like, so they're your buyer and the kids are your user. So you're marketing and you're trying to reach out to what appeals to kids, but really you also need to be marketing and reaching out to what appeals to the parents. Like, what time of day is it? What does the parking look like? Can I leave my kids and not have to stay with them? Do I need to stay with them? All those things are questions that the buyer is going to ask before they figure out, what their user is really going to be interested in. I think that applies to a lot of types of businesses. We all make purchases for our businesses that our users are eventually going to use, but we have to also think about buying decisions.
Jen, can I add on to that a little bit? It also brings forward the nuance of this statement that Jen made earlier about you have to solve a problem that somebody wants to pay for. And in this example, it can be a little bit obvious to think the problem you're solving is we're educating kids about art or we're entertaining the kids or something. But through customer discovery and really listening to people, you might start to see a trend from parents for things like, well, when school's out in the summer, I need something to keep my kids busy. Or, a problem I always have is, well, one kid's at the soccer game Saturday morning, what do I do with the other kid? Or something that starts to advise kind of secondary problems you can solve that position, in this case, what time of day or what time of the year or something where you might offer your classes. So this is really a listening activity to look at what are problems that I can solve that might not be just my primary problem, but there might be secondary or tertiary problems that enable me to sell more or to sell more easily. Does that make sense?
Yep. Questions, thoughts, anyone? Okay. A common pitfall in all of this is wanting to start a business, that somebody wanting to start or somebody who already owns a business falling into assuming they know what their customers want. Ways to avoid that, talking to people, everyone, not just who you think your customers are, but who you think that might not even be close to who your customer is, and figuring out why wouldn't they buy my product or service? What makes them not a customer versus making them a good customer? All of those things are key pieces of information to learn more about so that you can better serve your customers and have them buy your products. Yeah, I feel like you have a question.
I do have a question here. So my brain immediately goes to the analytics of this and like the data behind it and understanding all of that. Is there a proper soup mix of data points or can we kind of push this more to a formula or, either qualitative or quantitative to actually begin to get to a decision point? Because I can go ask, I don't know how to do that with each business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that when you first, if you're in that idea stage of figuring out, is this a viable business option? Asking those open-ended questions around, what does your day look like? How can I, where do I plug into that sort of thing? For those who you think are your initial target customers, but then at the same time, those who aren't your initial target customers, figuring out, okay, like where are why aren't we grinding together? Why wouldn't you buy my product? It helps you take that information and put it back to, okay, I'm going to make this really good for those who are interested in buying the product. There's not like a hard number of what's the right number of conversations to have. It really depends on your overall market size. If you're trying to sell to the whole country, having 100 conversations in Stafford County is probably too small of a number. If you're only trying to sell in Stafford County and all the conversations you're having are people who don't live here or work here or interact here, probably not the right target number. But if you do a little bit of market research and say, okay, I'm really targeting those 24 to 35 women in Stafford, how many are there? I need to have more conversations than just who are in my network, but who else can I talk to outside of that and kind of grow from there. And really, customer discovery is a never-ending journey, starting with, from ideas and conception to I'm innovating and adding new product lines, or I'm, just trying to grow my business from the 10 customers I have now to 100 customers. What gets people over the edge?
Dale, from just a pure data point of view, it's good to know a little bit of basic statistics, and that doesn't mean any of the founders or any of the company owners here need to be mathematicians or even be good at math, but just in basic statistics, you need at least a sample size of about 30 people to have significance in the results that you get back. So if you're talking to less than 30 people, you probably have not gotten kind of a normal distribution of the audience that you're trying to target. So first, to Jen's point, you need to make sure that the folks that you're talking to are relevant to, your market or whatever. The National Science Foundation, their customer discovery program, they call ICOR, and they require 50 interviews as a minimum. So that's one piece. The second is, you mentioned qualitative and quantitative. It's great to have data that you might be able to, to crunch, things that are numbers. But the qualitative data is really valuable. So let's say you ask 50 people, would you buy my product? And a whole bunch of them say yes, and some of them say no. And you feel like, statistically, a lot of them said yes. You might not know why it is that you want to buy my product. You said yes, it's a binary answer, yes or no. And you got a bunch of yeses, a bunch of nos. You can statistically say, I've got enough yeses, but maybe out of that whole yes demographic, some are buying it for one reason, some are buying it for a different reason, some are buying it for a third reason. And so you haven't understood enough about why they said yes to know, for instance, what should be your sales strategy or your marketing strategy. So asking non-binary questions that really get some of that qualitative, deep understanding can be valuable too. And of course, that's it's harder to put real numbers and data to that, other than kind of the number of interviews that you do.
So, defining customers' problems. An example that I like to use is thinking about a local coffee shop, really on a restaurant theme today. Type of business that sells coffee, which is a product or is a product and service that you might not think solves a problem, but consider some customer personas of people who go to coffee shops. Students of a nearby college who need a place to study late at night, local freelance workers who need a location for meetings throughout the day, or even weekend shoppers who need to take a break and recharge after shopping all weekend. Each of these customers is coming to the coffee shop for a different reason. The product, the coffee and the atmosphere solves a different problem for each of them. But once you understand why people are coming and using their products, then you can describe how your product or service will meet their needs, aka solving their problem. For this college student, if you're staying open later in the evening to be able to have a place to study that has free Wi-Fi and good coffee and good food, you're solving a problem for your local college students. For your freelance worker, it might be as simple as turning down the music throughout the day and having large tables for people to gather at, have those conversations. For the weekend shopper, it can be special. It can be as easy as just being located near the shopping center or advertising good drink specials, having a good parking lot, all those kinds of things. Step 3, researching existing solutions. We all pretty much, all of our problems are being solved in some way, shape, or form today. Figuring out what's already on the market, what types of companies are already solving the problem, how are they doing it, what's working for them. You can do a lot by Googling, what's happening with this company, what's going on, are they being successful, are they not, all that good stuff. What are their prices? Where are they located? How are they reaching their customers? Are they, the Twitter game for the National Park Service, if you didn't know, is on point. That's a great way that they're reaching their customers. Instagram, social media, all those kinds of things, because that's where people are going to complain, and it takes forever to get into Shenandoah National Park. It's backed up and lines are taking too long, but they have great peaks. So
You can actually hike in through a neighborhood that I'm aware of, but
there you
yeah,
go.
that's an option.
Yeah. I turned 29 this year, and I decided to buy myself a Bissell Crosswave, which is a vacuum and mop in one, because I have a German Shepherd, and she, as soon as you vacuum, there's still dog hair on the floor, and I was just pushing around the dog hair with the Swiffer. So, the Swiffer was solving my problem, it was mopping the floor for me, but the Bissell is really solving my problem. What are people have their problem solved in one way or the other, but there might be just a little bit of pain point that says, I really want to switch over to something else. And asking, okay, how are you cleaning your floors today? Like, what are you doing? What's working, what's not working? Before you even get to, I'm gonna create a new, vacuum and mop in one kind of thing. To really help drive conversation for your customers.
Mrs. Caroline, so we have a pool, and Mrs. Caroline, my wife, she got a kind of this very vastly expensive Roomba for sucking up leaves at the bottom of the pool. It's been so good to her, she actually named it Javier, and it's her pool boy. And so he rides around in our pool all day. But I just to reiterate Jen's point, I think it's right. We had a scoop and she was out there scooping.
Yeah.
For, an hour a day doing stuff, and now Javier was hired for 700 bones forever, so.
There you go.
I feel like that's something, in my experience, just working with businesses, I think a lot of times that step is missed. I think that because they're not aware of what the solution is, they assume that one sometimes doesn't exist. And then when they start to put capital into it and time and effort, and then they realize kind of on the back end that they might be duplicating something that already exists. I mean, I don't know if you've ever kind of seen that too. So I think that step is kind of the one that's missed the most.
Yeah,
In my experience.
no, you're totally right. I mean, I think about like Google and Amazon, they both have, Alexa Home and Google Home and everything like that. Same product, just like they do the same thing, but like, why is somebody a diehard Google customer versus a diehard Amazon customer? Like, what makes people choose one versus the other? Preferences, habits, integrating into what's already in my house. If I have a Fire Stick, I'm gonna get an Alexa. If I have a Google Chrome, I'm gonna get, a Google Home. All of those kinds of things are those conversations to have with your potential customers to say that what would make you switch, or what would make you better solve your problem, that sort of thing.
But then the other end of it is companies get so big, they're not paying attention to who their consumer really is. And then over time, they're the ones that suffer, but then so does the customer suffer as well. And it's kind of sad, but it's true. You should always know what changes are happening with this market, this product, this is going to happen. And that's how you stay very competitive, and it's better all around. But just we don't do that all the time. I see that often. It's so sad.
Yeah, we teach like a larger course on similar topics, and an example that we have used for a while, it was Airbnb. When they first started, three guys in their apartment were trying to like make some extra money, and they noticed that there was a hotel shortage around a conference, and so they posted, hey, we've got an air mattress for way cheaper than all the other hotel prices, and they had 3 people show up at their door. They came to the determination that they were solving 2 problems. 1, making extra money for people who want to rent out space, and 2, finding people who were, wanting to find cheaper places to stay for their solutions, or, than hotels or other places. So they have 2 very distinct customer profiles to consider and go down through customer discovery processes on both of the sides. And we all know Airbnb is successful. We've also all seen in the news how many problems they've had recently around cleaning fees and booking fees and all of this stuff. And I just read an article that their CEO spent 6 months staying in Airbnbs to figure out what his customers' problems and issues were and stuff like that. But we've also not seen that their stock go up recently. It's just been tanking, and so they're in that iterative process that it's a never-ending journey, constantly having to listen to your customers and your users who's buying your product and using your product and all those things on both sides, or you risk tanking your company essentially. So step 4, getting to the actual interview side of the customer discovery process. You've determined who your customers are, who you want to reach out to. It's time to start having some conversations. Really, this starts with creating a script. And to Dale's point, creating a script that you can use over and over, so you have a standard like definition of what you're asking customers, tracking who you've reached out to, who you've had conversations with, what were the results of those conversations. All of those things help you better do this customer discovery process and inform your product, or your service, your overall business. When starting with this, when trying to figure out your script, important thing to remember is that you're not trying to have your customer validate your business. You're not pitching your business idea to them. You're just asking questions. You want them to tell you about what their problems are, where their pain points are, and then you can take that information and bring it back into your business. So, a couple of key sections of the script that we recommend, starting with setting the stage. Telling your customers that you'd like to ask them about their past and current experiences around whatever you want to talk about. Wood, restaurants, marketing, whatever it is, setting that stage a little bit. In the example of the coffee shop, you could set the stage by saying, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I'd like to frame this around saying that I'm interested in learning more about your habits around going to coffee shops, to help me potentially with my future business idea. We all it's weird reaching out to people without telling them why you're reaching out. So inevitably, you're going to have to say at some point that you're interested in starting a business, but you're not trying to sell the business. Or even if you are an established business, still like, hey, I'm wanting to learn more about how, what you do in this area. I'm trying to improve around my business. Next, looking into identifying those problems. Building off of that coffee shop example, you could say, to start, can you tell me about your current habits to go to a coffee shop? How often do you go? How long do you stay? What considerations do you take into picking a coffee shop? All those kinds of things. After you learn these things, examining those problem areas, what problems are you having in however it relates to your business or your business idea. With the coffee shop example, asking questions around what do you wish that they had, what would improve it, is it related to parking or Wi-Fi or the menu or whatever it is, kind of asking those kinds of questions. I don't know if anyone has ever been to the Quantico Corporate Center, but that's like it in that area of Stafford. We're working on it here, but that's like it for now. And the coffee shop there is a full service coffee shop and has like plenty of sandwich options and food options, but they also have a full bar because there's nothing else there. And they met a market need that was needed in that area. We don't see a whole lot of like coffee shops and bars. Starbucks tried for a little while, it didn't really work out, but like, why is that working there? The market, like their customers and their market met that, like wanted that. So thinking about those kinds of things. Finally, briefly, you can discuss your business. You can uncover here your customers' willingness to purchase something that's unknown to them, and tie it back to like why it might benefit them. Examples of like non-meeting, non-salesy ways of doing this could be, as I stated earlier, I'm gathering information on my potential customers. It seems like, you frequently interact with this type of product. I plan to run, test runs in a couple of months. Can I contact you later to be a potential first customer to test out my product? In the, business development, this is really, okay, I'm in those early stages, I'm gathering information, and now I have an MVP or a minimum viable product. I need people to tell me, does this work, does this not work? Where are the pros and cons of this? And how can I improve where can I make changes? A lot of folks in your customer discovery journey are great first potential customers in that path. To end the conversation, say thank you, outline some next steps, you know, I'm gonna reach back out, or thank you so much, or whatever. And a key question to ask is, if you've identified that they're a good potential customer, who else do they think, like, you should be talking to? And even if they aren't a good potential customer, do they know anybody who might be a better potential customer, or more information that they can connect you to? Building out that web of networks really helps in this process. Questions, comments on the script? Cool. Important things to remember: have a script. We've all been in meetings where we wish there was an agenda for us to prepare ahead of time, or to track notes, or whatever it is. Developing that agenda, developing that script is important to be able to have something flow effectively. Document your outreach. How many people have heard the term CRM? Yeah, if you're in this room and like that corner, you have probably counted that into my head at this point. But a CRM is a customer relationship management system that helps you stay connected to your customers. Think of it as a large mailing list, and it can help you document who you talk to, when you've reached out to them, how often you've reached out to them, all of those things. You can start as simple as an Excel spreadsheet. It'll do the job. As long as you are on top of putting that information in there, it'll do the job. If you are not on top of putting that information in there and you would like to use a technology resource, there are a ton of CRM platforms out there that can help you do that kind of tracking.
Which one do you recommend for small businesses?
I think it depends on how much time and energy you want to put into it. I use the free versions of everything. I've tried, like, HubSpot works really well. Monday.com, they have a CRM component. It depends on what you want to do with it. I think that HubSpot generally works pretty well for those small businesses, but I mean, you can Google free CRMs.
I said there's hundreds,
Yeah,
and everybody has their, hey, look at me, you know, I'm bright and shiny, you know, kind of thing. And
Maybe to help you drive it, a quick question there that you can ask yourself to narrow it down a good bit is, are you looking to manage process, i.e. taking a product from A, moving it to B, shipping it to customer C? Are you
Yeah.
looking to manage and handle that? Or are you looking to create a Rolodex that you can use to market against in several different ways? I think if you there are certainly clear strengths with several of them in the process and product management side, and then other clear strengths in the customer interaction and marketing piece.
Yeah.
And that'll really give you a good vision of the pipeline.
we're meeting here today, or this morning, okay.
we use Trello as our project management app with integration,
I gotcha.
Awesome,
Okay.
wait over here.
and that's a great thing for us. And then we use Pipedrive for our CRM. currently.
I don't know about Pipedrive.
Salesforce is too complicated. And then- Yeah.
I also know a lot of folks, especially on the small business side, they use, Square,
Yeah.
like anytime you use any of the like credit card processing things, they have a lot of that information already built in. And I know like Square in and of itself, they have the components to add your own website, to add your, you know, to have all the CRM things, to track your inventory.
They have a loyal, so we use that at home, and there's something called Square Loyalty.
Yeah,
So like for a restaurant, that's a really good thing to add too, is depending on what your goal is with that information, like Dale's saying, sometimes you don't need this robust database. You just want,
right.
that people don't want to give you all that information, but you're probably gonna get maybe their number or something if they want to sign up for like a loyalty program.
Yeah.
And then that automatically helps you market back to them. So something like that, but, and It just depends on what you're trying to do with it.
Right, and like you'll get, okay, if I'm, a restaurant or at a vendor at a farmer's market or
Yeah.
cafe or whatever. I don't have the receipts to be able to print, on site, so I'm gonna send it to you via email, or I'm gonna send it to you via your phone number, or whatever it is. And then you're getting that information in your CRM to be able to then say, okay, I'm gonna add you to my mailing list, and you can opt out after I add you, but like, I now have your email and I can reach out to specials or, sales, that sort of thing.
Yeah, just depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Last two, document all of this, and you can document it in your CRM or in a Word doc, wherever you want, but be able to track back, I've had these conversations and these are the results. And then finally, big thing, avoiding those leading questions. You're not trying to sell your product in that initial conversation. I saw a really great article on like that first conversation is, I just want to know what your problems are, where you are. And then I bring in the big salesperson afterwards to the second conversation, if you've already identified that you're a good potential customer. And you want to have those really good conversations back to having a script so you can have that second conversation. Any questions? Cool. So what's next? We talked a lot about customer discovery today, and it's an integral part of business, but we also have other things that are part of business and more ways to engage and learn. We run two programs that can help business founders in a variety of ways. One is our foundations program, and this can help businesses at any stage of their business. Like I said, we worked with a company who was moving from a mobile business to a physical establishment, and she was like, this is a huge change. I need to, reset and figure out how do I do this. To idea stage companies, to people who are just starting out, all those sorts of things. Registration deadline is May 26th, and we run the cohort Monday evenings in June. To try to work around folks' work schedules. So please feel free to sign up and I will reach out to you to learn more about you and your goals and your businesses. It's a four class series, and then I do individual one-on-ones each week with each of you. Our other program is our accelerator program, which is a 12-week program that is a lot more intense for companies who are really at that go-to-market growth stage of their companies. And our next cohort will run this fall with an application deadline of July 7th. And I'd be happy to talk more about those if anyone has questions. Finally, the next class in this series is June 8th, not June 15th. And I'll make sure to send that in an email. June 8th. I don't know, June 1st is on Thursday, second Thursday, it's weird. Go to market, we're going to be talking about what are the key things that you need to think about as you're developing that strategy for your business, and how to do that effectively. So that's it for today. Thank you all for coming. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for those of you who joined us online. We will see you next time.
Do you want to take a picture with everybody?
Sure.
If anybody wants to leave their camera on.
I don't know if anybody.
Thank you, guys. This was fantastic. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
We'll get it this time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
I want to take a picture.